Hey guys, Legion here and welcome back to Jurassic Evergreen Park. And in today's video, we're not going to be doing a speed build, we're probably not going to be doing a new habitat, and maybe like starting it a little bit and planning it. But this episode will mainly be basically some park planning, since there are people who struggle with that and want to have tips from about how to plan your parks. And basically, I'm going to show you how I plan my parks. I'm going to be planning new habitat right here. This has been in the planning for a longer while. I've already placed this, how this is going to be, and we're also going to decorate this area over here, which is still completely bland, and this is basically the transition between this little walkway and this big shopping plaza over here, where we also have the habitat from the last episode in the back. So first we're going to start off with this habitat, and the first thing I want to get down is basically what we're going to incorporate. I want to have this a walkway going right here, some path, and you're gonna be able to look into this habitat from one side and into the other one from the other on the other side. And over here is also going to be a view area where we're gonna have the next plaza basically be over here. And for that I like using some of these brushes right here, some of these terrain brushes, the ones that are the lightest basically, and that I can just mark out here. Here I want my plaza to be. Of course this is going to be the habitat that's already marked. We want the path to go something like this. We basically want it to split and then meet up somewhere here later, so that there's sort of like a decision for the guests to be made where they want to go. What this will be is just going to be like a little relax area. Now I think the way I want to do some elevation over here is first that here you go down a bit, and here you stay at this height. Maybe you can even elevate this by one line right here. And this is something I recommend for you guys, to turn this on right here, the height marking or something, or lines, something like that, terrain lines maybe, that's what it's called in English, but I'm not sure. And this is basically really helpful for doing elevation and terrain, because you always know you can do way better elevation there. It makes it so much easier, so I really recommend you guys to turn that on. And I think what we can do actually is get this one level elevated by like one line right here. So I think what's gonna make this more interesting, so we're gonna go another level of height elevation. You're sort of on eye level with them when they're feeding on these trees actually. Now it's just time for the basic path infrastructure with this right here. Now I'm gonna move this elevation part over here. Basically I want the path to sort of nicely split up over here. Now this is sort of the path structure I ended up with now. I think this looks quite nice. It was pretty hard to come up with like satisfying shape with this, but I think I managed to pull it off. At least I hope so. I'm gonna add a garden to this side of the path as well. Yeah, then now over here I think I'm gonna build a little rock garden. By rock garden I basically mean an idea by Python, one of the Battle of the Builders participants and one of the finalists, and that is to have a whole area like of rocks, basically a rock bed, you could maybe even say, like a planter from rocks, and just building that. I think that looks really cool, and I've done that before in this park. To make this a little cooler, I want to incorporate like a skeleton. Then over here I'm gonna add a rock like this and a bigger rock like this, and I'm gonna end them off with these bigger rocks over here. I'm probably not gonna do this rock bed now because it takes a lot of time placing off these individual rocks, but I'm gonna for sure do it, and I think it's gonna be worth it in the end. I'm gonna start building this restaurant area over here, and I think one of the buildings that ends up looking a lot like a restaurant is the hotel from the Malta building set. It just looks, you know what I mean. Like it looks more like a restaurant to me, like from when you look like this, when you see it from the guest perspective instead of a hotel, which is what it actually is. I think if we combine that with one of the actual guest amenities, that's gonna look really cool. And over here, what I want to do is incorporate some more elevation. Now this right here is at the same level as the terrain over here. And I think it's gonna look really cool if we have some path down here for the guests to look in the habitat. And then up here we have all of the seating areas and everything for the restaurant. So this is going to be sort of a walkway, and over here I'm also going to have a little walkway leading up to the restaurant. To make this other plaza stand out, I'm also going to use a different path color, this lighter path. I think what I want to do is to place the seating area over here, so when you're walking this way you can already see the guests eating the other ones, and that basically motivates them to buy something in this restaurant as well. I'm basically sort of trying to expand this building and make it look like one larger building. So the restaurant is basically planned, it just needs to be finished with some tables and chairs. This is also planned but not finished. You see, this episode is more planning and less finishing, except for this area, which I'm going to finish off with decorations right now. So I'm going to mark the corners always with these lamps. And now I'm going to continue with the mortar wall segments. This little curved area will be finished off with these right here. Then I think this side will be lined using these planters right here. Some more height variation, of course. And over here I'm simply going to be using these small walls again. And then over here we can basically add some amount of nature. First gonna go with the brush, and because that didn't do a lot, and now we will all of course have to resort to the placeable trees. First I will go in with the fluffy bush. And now it's time for the actual trees. And then this area in the front I'm gonna fill in with some of these smaller plants, like these smaller bushes. And then I'm gonna do the rest with these tropical plants. And then my unique trick is to fill in the rest, like some blank areas, with this potted plant from the last decoration update. And this is how I fill up most of the areas here. So now you know how I do that. And this area will basically be the same. And then I think over here I'm gonna add a little fun detail. That would be a Spinosaurus skull, little thing right here. Little fun discovery for our guests, because you know that's what they need. And behind that we're gonna have a log. And now what changed about this one is that instead of having this layer in between with the small plants, we're just gonna have the bushes and then the trees directly after that, because I don't want to first I don't want to spend the time on doing this everywhere. I want the whole path, and second of all I think this is gonna make it more interesting if you know, everything's different and not all of this is built the same way. And then this will be a little rock garden. Now we went to this from this. So I hope you guys enjoyed this episode, this little park planning episode. What we did was to transition from this section to this habitat and incorporate this as well as get the idea to build this cool restaurant. And I showed you the way that I decorate this park in this little fun area, which I think turned out quite nicely. I really like the feel. This is basically the way I decorate this park, and the reason I do that, of course, is because I really like to feel like a lot of height with the trees and the nice detail with like the planters and the rocks, and I think it looks really cool. And I hope you guys do too. See you guys in the next one. Bye bye. Have a great day and enjoy the view of this Alamosaurus. Bye bye.